Arsen, how are you?
Hi, Eric. Good to see
Well,
you.
you as well. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to meet you again.
Yeah,
I'm
dude,
I'm missing all these things because of virus. It's difficult to keep in contact.
it's crazy, isn't it? Well,
Yeah, really, exactly. I never remember in last 20 years that I was at home for 5 months in a row. So it's really uncomfortable and amazing. Yeah, very
yeah, I was
lots of
telling my
difficult.
kids last night, this is a time that they'll never forget. They'll be looking 20, 30 years down the road, and these 3, 4 months will be something that they'll always remember.
Exactly, and good that now we have this kind of connections, digital technologies. Without this, I can imagine it will be much more difficult. So, thanks God that we have these technologies to keep in contact.
Yeah, let's do a quick intro real quick. I'm Eric Olanowski, your host for UWW Live. If you're not already doing so, make sure you're following United World Wrestling on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. We have a lot of good content coming out. And in particular, in the next coming weeks, it's going to be top Indian wrestlers and top Turkish wrestlers. You can find those on all our social media channels and on UnitedWorldWrestling.org. Let's welcome in Arsen Julfalakyan, World European Champion and Olympic silver medalist. Thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you for inviting. It's a pleasure for me.
Let's start here. I always like to get the background information on the athletes that we're interviewing first. With you being so successful in the sport of wrestling, where did it all start?
Oh, it's a very interesting and very interesting story. As you know, my father, he's an Olympic champion of Seoul, 1988. So I was born in wrestling family, and yeah, of course, I always say that in this culture of cultural sport, you can't stay totally away from wrestling. So I think that was the main result why I decided to continue with wrestling. But I should say that there was no any pressure on me to do wrestling. Even when I started wrestling, my father was not in Armenia. He was abroad that time. And I'll tell you some interesting story. I was going for piano with my strong hands, fingers, short fingers. Yeah, and one day I decided to start piano, and I asked my mother to take me for that classes. And she said, if you decide to start piano, you should go till the end. We have some kind of law rule in my family. If we start anything, we should go till the end. So I said, I promised, yeah, I want it. I like it. It seems to me that I'll start in 1 month, I'll start to play piano like Mozart or Beethoven. So, of course, it was not so. And after a couple of months, I realized how difficult it is and start to ask my parents to stop taking me for piano classes and to move me for wrestling. So, yeah, it was totally in other worlds, from music to sport. And I was 11-year old when I started wrestling. And by the way, first day when I started my wrestling, I went to wrestling hall with my mother, and near the wrestling hall, there was one another very famous wrestler. Yeah, now unfortunately he's not alive. So God bless his how to say in English, I don't know,
Oh,
memory. Yeah. So
yes.
and yeah, he met me in front of wrestling hall. Arsen, former world champion, 1993. By the way, after he moved to USA and long years, he was coaching in Colorado Springs with USA national team. A great wrestler, a great friend, and he met me in front of wrestling hall. He said, "Hey, you decided to at last you decided to come for wrestling?" Yeah, I say, exactly. This day I decided with my mother. She said, he said, "Do you have wrestling shoes?" I say, no, unfortunately, still not. He said, okay, come with me. We entered to his changing room, and he gave me a present, wrestling shoes, Essex, new pair. And he said, promise me that with these shoes, you'll become a champion. I say, what champion you want me to be? He said, as big as possible. I say, but these shoes are very small. I say, okay, decide. You have to be champion with these shoes. And I remember when I won my first tournament with these shoes. Yeah, till this day, I remember that day. And yeah, that was the first day I entered wrestling hall, and then till nowadays.
And your father, with him being so successful, was there any pressure on you? You mentioned he didn't pressure you into wrestling, but for yourself, did you put a lot of pressure to try and live up to your achievements of your father?
Oh, Eric, it was another pressure on me. And I'd like to speak about this because I think a lot of kids, a lot of youngsters have this kind of pressure when they have famous parents.
Yes.
When I started wrestling, yeah, I'm son of Olympic champion. He was very famous, and now he's very famous in Armenia. And everything what I was doing, society, people around me, they were speaking that's all because of my father. Same was in school when I was studying, doing very well with very high marks. Same was in sport when I was winning different tournaments. Then when I entered university, I was studying in international relations, Yerevan State University. It's not very common among sportsmen, among athletes, wrestlers, to continue in another fields, not in physical institutes, but in my case, it was international relations. So it was really very difficult to overcome this situation. You knew that you are doing everything yourself. It is very difficult. It is very hard. Of course, my father helped me too much. My parents helped me too much. I can say that the biggest investment they did in me, and nowadays, if I'm this kind of man, the biggest investment did my parents. But anyway, it was very hard not to get broken. I'll tell you one story with this, a very interesting story. I think I'm speaking about this for the first time. Never in my other interviews I spoke about this. I was 11 or maximum 12 years old, and my first coach, by the way, it was not my father. He was my father's teammate, Gagik Sargsyan. He took us it was summer, and he sent our team to swimming pool, open air swimming pool. I was just 12 years old. 1 year I was starting wrestling, and he was late a little bit, maybe 5-10 minutes, I don't remember now, about 20 years before it was. So we were waiting in front of wrestling swimming pool, and my teammates asked me to ask the guard, the security, to let us in earlier without the coach. And my father's photo was inside of the swimming pool, because Olympic champion, you can understand, in every halls you can see famous athletes. And I knocked the door. The security came to us and say, what do you want? Yeah, I say, please let us in. I am son of this man, of this Olympic champion. And he let us in. We entered, we started to swim. 10 minutes later came our coach, and when he learned what happened, yeah, he started to explain me. And he told me, Arsen, never do this again, because this way, all your life, you will represent yourself like Levon's son, not like Arsen. Don't be only his son. You are his son. Nobody can take it from you. Of course, you should be proud with your father. He's a great man, but don't always use his name and surname to get some achievements. That day was a big lesson for me. And now when I'm telling you, I feel in my body how I feel in my skin. And after this day, I can't remember any situation when I represented me like Levon Julfalakyan's son. Of course, a lot of people know me with this, but I tried always to present me like Arsen, not like Levon's son. But anyway, it's very painful when you do this, when you get these achievements, and anyway, society says that it's because of his father, he helped him. Of course, it helped me. But the pressure in case of famous people's son or daughter or kid is this one, more this than the other things.
And for me, my father was an Olympic champion, but my brother was a great wrestler, and I always tried to live up to his success, and that's what I chased as well. And people always thought that, you know, me being his brother's kind of the same situation. I used his name a couple of times, but I never had a lesson like that. Would you say, when would you say that the shadow was, or when you finally felt that you were out of your father's shadow? Was there a time that you remember where you felt just for yourself?
In the beginning it was so, but I should be honest and say that my father never was a concurrent for me. In my mind, when I started wrestling, there were three dreams, to win Europe Championship, World Championship, and Olympic Games. But I was not competing with my father. I knew that there is a dream, there is a place where I should go, and my father can help me to get there. And when I won Senior Europe Championship title, I say, okay, this is plus. One dream already is done, and I should go for another. But never I was counting my medals and compare with my father's medals. I have, if I'm not mistaken, 12 or 13 Europe, World, and Olympic medals, but still I don't have Olympic gold. My father has four or five of them, but he has Olympic gold. So nowadays, it's a big motivation, of course, to get the Olympic gold. But again, I'm not competing with my father. That is another story. I have a dream to have these three main titles. Like in tennis, we have different cups. It's the same in wrestling. But I can say that after winning Europe Championship in seniors, this problem with shadow, I can say, was already overcome. People understood that now I am serious. It's not just a luck, as usually they say. It's very common to say, oh, he's just lucky. I was lucky when I won my titles in cadets. I was lucky when I won my titles in juniors. But seniors, when you win medal by medal, they stop talking about
luck.
And you know what I say? You should be lucky, of course. But luckiness loves strongest. I don't know, am I translated it in a correct way? But we have such kind of proverb, or how to say, in order to be lucky, you should work a lot, and you should do a lot of things in order to be lucky.
You touched on your Junior World Championship. That was 2007 when you won Junior World Gold. And a lot of people don't realize that you've been to 3 Olympic Games, but you won the Junior World Gold in 2007. And in 2008, you were wrestling in the Olympic Games a year later. So you talk about this quest to reach the pinnacle of the sport and win an Olympic gold. And in 2008, you lost to Peter Boxey, and he ended up losing, which knocked you out. But you were young, you were inexperienced. What did you take from 2008 that you took into 2012 that allowed you to grow and get on the podium?
By the way, about 2007 World Championship, I'll tell you shortly a very now funny, but that time was very sad story, which could be the end of my career, professional career. I won till 2003. I won all the titles in cadets, then in juniors. But in cadets that time we hadn't World Championship, only Continental Championship. And unfortunately, I haven't world title because there weren't that time. In juniors, in 2006, I was the main one of the how to say one of the wrestler who could win in 2006 world champion title in juniors. But what happened in U.S. embassy in Armenia? Head coach from junior national team didn't got the visa for USA. The World Championship was in Guatemala, and our flight was via USA, via California, transit flight. And I become, how to say, the oldest, the captain of the team. And head coach had to fly to Guatemala via Mexico, and our team via Los Angeles,
USA,
California, USA. And he appointed me like a captain and say, okay, you have to take care for the team. And we fly to USA, first Moscow, Yerevan, Moscow. We stood there for 3-4 hours, and then we continued to California, right? And in California, we should stay 8 hours. My teammates who were losing weight, a lot of weight, one was 6 kilograms, the other 7, they asked me to call to some friends because they knew that I have a friend in California, in Los Angeles, and stay there at their point, at their home, or I don't know, some cafeteria, check weight category, our weights. And we left airport, we had 8 hours at all. And when coming back, we were late for airplane because of high traffic in California. And because of that, I missed 2006 World Championship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and even in one moment I was so sad that thinking even to stop my career, but thanks to my coaches, to federation, they gave me some power, and I continued my professional career. And in 2007, I won in a very good manner, in a very good way, World Championship. And then in 2008, I won qualification tournament and qualified for Beijing Olympic Games. And in 2007, the World Championship, unfortunately, was in Baku. And you can imagine for Armenian, how is this to fight, to compete in Azerbaijan. So it was double difficulty for us. Then in Serbia, I won qualification. And in 2008, my group was really the strongest one. In one group, there were Bachi, there were Kverkvelia Manuchar, Samurgashev, Vartires, Denmark, Madsen. So all strongest guys in one group. First round, I won with Shatsky, world champion. And then second round, with 3 rounds, with 1-1 last round, I lost with Bachi. Of course, it was sad when he lost in semifinal because he was really very close to go to final. And my dream was to continue and to fight, to compete for bronze medal. Of course, there were difficult matches after, but anyway, I felt that I was ready to compete for medals. What lessons I get from these Olympics? Yeah, at that time I was very young and with big enthusiasm. Sometimes I was in a hurry. Sometimes I was making some mistakes that in other case I'll never do that. And later in London, if you compare my matches, my boots, you'll see that difference.
Yes.
We say that some mistakes you can make correct only by years. You need some years in order to become smart in wrestling. You can be very strong, you can be very talented, but you need experience. So I can say that these Olympic Games in Beijing gave me a huge experience, which I needed for London. In London, I was not surprised with anything, with good Olympic Village, with famous stars, sports stars, with a big wrestling hall, with nice opening ceremony. Everything was for me normal, and I was not surprised with it because everything I saw already in Beijing. So experience was huge.
Let's talk about 2014.
Yeah.
The year you won the World Championships was a turning point in Armenian Greco-Roman wrestling, because you look at the success that you had, and we'll even throw Artur Alexanian in there. You won, so from 2012 to 2013, silver, bronze, and Alexanian, bronze, silver, and then in 2014, he won gold. And there was a 13-year drought period there where Armenia didn't have a Greco-Roman world champion. So what was it about 2014 that allowed you guys to get over that hump? Because you had fallen short of your goals for the previous 4 years, and finally, you guys get over that hump and give Armenia, was it Galstian that was the 2001 world champion? So what was it that about that year in 2014 that allowed you guys to get over that hump?
Yeah, you know, you are really very right. Since 2001, we hadn't gold medal, but we were always close to that.
Close, yeah.
If you watch again my match in 2010 final, I was really very, very close, and that is my saddest match what I had in my career. The final match when my opponent I lifted him very high, and it left only to throw him for 1 point, and I'm world champion, but my clinch was open and I missed the throw, so it was really very sad. I'll say you, when I came back home, never I watched my matches again. I can't remember a match that I won't watch so many times what I did with this match. I put it on repeat, and this situation when I lift him and didn't throw him, I watched 2.5 hours in a row. I just was sitting like this and watching this again and again, 2.5 hours. I understood that I can change nothing. Everything is missed, no any way to correct it. But really, about 3-4 months, I couldn't find myself. It was very difficult to meet my friends, to contact them, to feel happy. I don't know. It was really very difficult period in my life. And that day, I decided that still I don't want Olympic world champion belt and medal. I'll keep competing and trying to win it. And I'm really thankful to my parents, to my friends, to my family, to God, that all what they did for me, and I could achieve this high title in 2014. What was different in 2014 that we managed to win these gold medals? I think the experience, the physical preparation, the technical preparation, so everything in one. That was our day. We were totally ready mentally, physically, technically, and I can say for myself, that day, a day before, a friend of mine, Patrick Nuding from Germany, he wrote me a message. Arsen, you are really ready to win this gold. Just one, make for me one favor. Just enjoy your wrestling. Don't fight for your result. Just enjoy your wrestling. Do what you know. The result will come itself. And now I can say the same for other wrestlers, for youngsters who are starting just competing. They are 16 years old, 17. They should enjoy wrestling. They should enjoy the the match. If you only fight for the result, sometimes you make mistakes. But in that tournament, if you watch my matches, I did there 5 matches, and if I'm not mistaken, I even didn't lost 1 point. So really, you see that I'm enjoying the process, not only the result.
Not only the result.
Yeah, and I never, during these 5 matches, I never count the time. I never watched the timetable, nothing. I just was competing and enjoying this process. So I think that day I was ready to make not even 5, but 7 and 8 matches. And that was the result.
And
really, that was some special day.
what was the emotion? Because when you rewatch it, you see just the burst when the clock hit 0, the burst of emotion, and there's that awesome photo we have of you flexing, and then your coaches from every corner, they're just coaches coming out hugging you. And so do you remember that moment, or was it so special that it was just one of those out-of-body experiences?
Eric, I'm remembering every second. You can't imagine every second what happened to me. I was realizing everything. I didn't lose myself at that moment. I was feeling everything. I was enjoying the moment. I understood that this is such a special moment that can be so that never it will repeat. Every second, every step, what I did after on the mat with Armenian national flag holding in my hand, and coaches and fans, and then on the podium when I get this medal and these emotions, these are feelings that I'd like any professional athlete who worth this to feel it, because really it's unbelievable and you can't compare it with anything in your life. A lot of things happened to me in my life. Graduation in university, then some good posts, I don't know, you earned a lot of money, anything can happen. But the victory, what you are having on fields, on the mat, and you get this gold medal, you can't compare with anything. That is unbelievable.
And it's much bigger than yourself. It's not only for yourself, it's for your coaches, for your family, for your country. So that's something.
Yeah, exactly. You are right, Eric. When I came back and a man met me and told, a stranger on the street, he came to me and told me a story. He said me, he was in a hospital and his relative was in a hospital and he went to meet him. And when they learned that my final is going on, they left their relative, they go to another room and start to watch that match and say that he was not alone. A lot of people were in that room, strange persons, Armenians. And when you understand that in that moment you make such a great thing for your country, for your nation, for 1 second they were happy, it's a huge feeling. And yeah, I'm really proud for that.
And speaking of your country, you're a public servant now for the Armenian people and the government. And we're running short on time here. Have about 5 minutes left. Can you quickly explain your role in the Armenian government?
Oh, I'm now in National Assembly. I'm not in government.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
Assembly. Yeah. And as far as I had, I don't know, do you know or not? You can congratulate me. I just a couple of months before I defended my PhD degree. So now I have a doctor of philosophy in history.
Congratulations. So, I didn't know that.
Yeah, thank you very much. And it's not very common in wrestling. So I entered Yerevan State University in 2004, so I have bachelor degree in international relations. Then I did masters again in international relations, but then in history I defended my final paper, and got my PhD degree. So my another profession is like to be a politician. Yeah, I'm in international relations. So 2 years before in Armenia there was Velvet Revolution, and after that we had parliamentary elections, and I got an invitation from ruling party to be in the list of these elections. And we won the elections. I become parliament member, deputy from ruling party, my step, in Armenian National Assembly. We have 11 committees in Parliament, standing committees, and I am in a committee of science, education, culture, diaspora, youth and sport. Of course, I also, for me, was interesting also Foreign Affairs Committee, but as you see, in my case, for my party, for my fraction, my sport career privileged than education. So I am now in Parliament, and I'm trying to fix all the questions what we have in my committee, as I mentioned, science, education, sport, diaspora. Yeah, all the questions what we have connected with these fields, I'm trying to help to fix out.
You're also a member of the UWW Athletes Commission. Where do you find time? What do you have, more than 24 hours in a day?
Yeah, really, sometimes my friend says, are you having 25, 26 hours or how? Because between these sessions and everything else, you should also keep your trainings. As you remember, I won my bronze medals during the time when I was in Parliament. And that was really another feeling. I could prove to wrestlers and to politicians that it's possible to do two things
at one time.
in one time. Yeah, and in Athletes Commission, I think it's very important. Why? Because I have good connections in Europe, in Asia, in America. I know very well Russian. I know English. So also, most important, I feel very well wrestling. And I have a vision what I want to have in wrestling, how I want to help develop wrestling. And I'm really very proud to be in this United World Wrestling team, because the things what we are changing now in UWW are great. Never such kind of changes were before. And the thing that we are now sitting and speaking together is one of these changes. And these changes are really positive. So I am happy to be a part of this great team.
Yesterday, you took the defense pledge. I like the beginning with you and your daughter. That was very cute.
You see, that was very nice.
Yes.
And yeah, we tried some different, how to say, movies. And anytime she was so funny that I couldn't speak in camera. She was making such kind of things that it was difficult to concentrate for the shooting. And by the way, near me, the view is the mountain Ararat. It's a saint mountain. You know, Noah was on it by the legend, by Bible. So look once again.
I will. I'll take a look.
And you'll see the mountain Ararat, one of Armenian symbols.
Well, we're out of time for today, Arsen. Can you please tell everyone where they can follow you on social media? And if you have any words for the fans, the floor is yours.
Yeah, sure. Thank you again, Eric, for your invitation. It was really nice. I enjoyed the talk with you. I'm asking all our fans of wrestling, and not only wrestling, but sport fans, to join UWW page in Instagram and Facebook. Wrestling is a great sport. Really, if you keep in contact with wrestling, you'll see how nice sport is it. And please, during this time of coronavirus, please be careful, take care of your relatives, for your parents, especially for old people. Keep social distancing and hygiene, what we are speaking about. Wear these masks, because from country to country situation is different, but when we act together we can win everything. So stay strong and stay healthy,
and we will wrestle again. I'm Eric Olanowski. He's Arsen Julfalakyan. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We will be back next Wednesday. Until then, so long.
Take care. Bye-bye.